Hey, what up, everybody? This is Stevie Breach coming to you today with the wrestling rumor of the day, basically talking about Wrestlemania 33's location. I know that WWE really switched up the game last year, I think it was, by announcing where two back-to-back WrestleManias were going to be, trying to get them out of the way, so they can get the brand out there and just had really know where they are going from here. I know that a lot of people have heard negative talk about this year's WrestleMania, and I think a lot of people are really negative about the current product of WWE. And with WWE, going into WrestleMania 31 with Roman Reigns going up against Brock Lesnar, I honestly know a lot of people that from my group of friends that are bailing out on this year's WrestleMania just because they don't want to put money into the WWE right now when they just don't really like the current product that it's going down. The WrestleMania trips are always fun, but when it comes down to it, when WrestleMania isn't going to deliver, they don't want to pay the WrestleMania price tag in order to go to those shows. I always thought the WrestleMania trips are always big time fun, and I'm glad that I get to do them with my buddies Miguel and Ravi, and this year a bunch of my other friends, Victor, Mario, Paul. Zach, Luke, a lot of these guys are coming to their first WrestleMania, so we're going to be making sure that we, really do it up and we really do it right. But honestly, in my mind, when I think about WrestleMania 32 honestly could easily be a huge disaster. A lot of people, when San Jose or Santa Clara got named for the WrestleMania 31, the host said there are a lot of people that were positive about it, saying that WrestleMania was coming to California, it was going to be nice, and then a lot of people looked at a freaking map and noticed that Santa Clara was nowhere near Los Angeles, really nowhere near San Francisco. It wasn't on the beach. It wasn't going to be 100% warm. And it was a little bit weird. Santa Clara, went to the WWE, and, they showed them around town, showed them that the new 49er Stadium, Levi Stadium, is going to be a great place to host events. And then when it came down to it for the bidding rights, they overbid everybody by a large number. It was widely reported by that in order to bring in that revenue, they overpaid the WWE, and that's how they got the show. And when it comes down to it, Santa Clara is a weird spot for WrestleMania, and I think that in the end of days, it's going to be a lot like the Seattle WrestleMania 19, one of the main reasons why WWE got out of arena shows, and they started going to smaller venues for WrestleMania 20 in Madison Square Garden, WrestleMania 21 in the Staples Center, WrestleMania 22 in what do they call that? Is the Rosemont Horizon? In Chicago, I think is where they had it, but and then after that, they started going back to the big arena shows, and the product grew big and a lot. Dallas is going to be a fun town, but honestly, if WWE is going in the direction they're going right now, if they're going to be putting the belt on Roman Reigns, who knows where they're going to be a year from now, and putting themselves inside of Dallas Stadium, where a lot of people are hoping to, eclipse the 100,000 people mark. I think that, WWE needs to be kind of careful about what they're thinking about for WrestleMania 33. Everybody knows about the big problems with WrestleMania 7 in Los Angeles, with Vince McMahon trying to put WrestleMania into the Coliseum to get 100,000 people for that show for Sergeant Slaughter versus Hulk Hogan. Of course, it was the Iraqi sympathizer going up against the good old red, white, and blue US of A. And he had to back down because he wasn't selling the tickets. People weren't willing to travel. Of course, even though that was my glory years as a wrestling fan, wrestling wasn't what it was the year before for Ultimate Warrior versus Hulk Hogan. It wasn't the year before, with Macho Man and Hulk Hogan and the Mega Powers colliding. Fans were getting older. Fans were, getting hip to the product. And it just wasn't in the cards for them to do that big of a show. It wasn't what it once was with WrestleMania 3 with Hogan versus Andre. Even though, WrestleMania 7, when it comes down to it, that and WrestleMania 8 are two of my most memorable WrestleManias that I have the most, best feelings about when I watch those shows. They really, hit me in a good spot as a kid. But WrestleMania 33, the big time rumor is that it's going to be in the new Minnesota Stadium, which is, of course, in Minneapolis, Minnesota. This is already the place that has been said that the Vikings are going to move into for the 2016 NFL season. They've already been granted the rights to the 2018 Super Bowl. They've already been granted the rights to the 2019 NCAA Final Four men's basketball tournament. These are really, really big deals. And, WWE has had this trend of either following or, scooting in to these places where the Super Bowl is going to be to sort of either beat the NFL's number or put up a number that the NFL can't beat. Honestly, when it comes down to it, Minnesota is a place that really scratches my head. Santa Clara isn't really a big, a big city, with that big time feel. I know that when you look at, numbers, San Jose really is one of the largest cities in the United States, but it doesn't get a whole lot of praise. I mean, they only really have a hockey team. They're currently trying to get the Oakland A's to move to there, but there's a lot of talk about the San Francisco Giants, sort of cock-blocking them because the Giants say that the A's would be moving in on their territory, and even though those two cities are so close, the Giants don't want to give up that big, huge fan base in San Jose to the A's with a new team moving into their town, so they're trying to work something out somewhere along the way. But honestly, Minnesota really makes me scratch my head. When I read this, I first gave no thoughts to it. I thought that honestly it was already sort of known that, for WrestleMania 33 and 34, it wasn't decided, but the number one contenders were going to be, I've actually heard 3 cities now that I think about it, because I remember when Alvarez was talking about this on the Observer Live radio one day, he was talking about Philadelphia, Boston, and Orlando. Orlando is a big one because as soon as there's rumors that WWE would open a real life Hall of Fame that you can actually walk in and look at exhibits, much like Canton, Ohio, with the NFL, or you have where's the Baseball Hall of Fame? In New York. It's called that one town, Cooperstown, New York, is where the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame is. They would have a real life exhibit. They've been going back and they've been, of course, collecting wrestling memorabilia. One of my favorite things to do at Access is walk through the exhibits and see, the wrestlers' trunks or artifacts, that they've saved throughout the years, whether if it's Vince's limo that got blown up, or whether if it was the Corvette that got the concrete poured into it by Stone Cold Steve Austin, Alberto Del Rio's Mercedes or Lexus, whatever it was, that got destroyed by Edge and Christian at WrestleMania 27, things like that. Are really, really cool. I would think of Orlando. When I was really surprised when I heard Boston, Philadelphia is a name that's been trying to get WrestleMania for years. Philadelphia, I think, was WrestleMania 15. Boston was WrestleMania 14. So these are cities that have hosted it before. But honestly, they haven't hosted it since the big boom of wrestling. It sort of was, lying in the weeds, and it was starting to grow. Of course, with the Boston one was, of course, Stone Cold Steve Austin's, birth into the growth, but I don't think the wrestling had really boomed to that point. Minnesota, to me, the first thing I did when I heard Minnesota, I went and I checked the weather map and just basically saw what the averages were, and I actually found out that the weather for Minnesota, that if we went to WrestleMania on the 29th of March, the high is going to be 42 degrees, which is cold as balls. And I know that most people will leave town by then, but if you would have stayed till Thursday, there's a great chance that it's going to snow. I know that there's lots of events all over town, for all the days that WrestleMania is there. And WWE doesn't really care about WrestleCon. They don't care about Ring of Honor. They don't care about Kaiju Big Battle or, Evolve or any other show that you want to go see. But, WrestleMania has become a destination vacation for a lot of wrestling fans for the reason you can go there and there's always something going on. There's always, some sort of show that can be seen, but you have to be able to get around town. I'm from California. it doesn't freaking snow here. Snow comes to my town, I shut it down. I'm not going nowhere. I'm going to be throwing some wood in the fireplace. I'm going to be getting a deck of cards and hoping that the power don't go out. All right. I think that's about the way it would be anywhere I go. I don't want WrestleMania to be anywhere that it's going to snow. I can remember that, there was talk of Atlanta not being a town that was going to be able to host a Super Bowl anymore, not because of the Ray Lewis murder that happened that year, but because of the freak ice storm that hit during Atlanta. They want to have these sort of warmer cities, and they want to be able to let the fans come and be a destination city for the entire week. Where of course they have all their sponsoring events, and they have different autograph shows, or just things that people can come and start throwing money out the window at these football things. I've often said that, I would go to WrestleMania if it was in Boise, freaking Idaho. It doesn't matter to me. We went to Miami. I only saw the beach one time, and that was for a matter of about 30 seconds because I had to run into these brush of woods to take a leak while waiting for my buddy Kevin to come out of his hotel to get into the car. Minnesota in March, or even the first week of April, looks like it's going to be freaking cold. There's not a day on this map that there's not clouds in front of the sun, and there's not a day where the sun lets the temperature get to over 45 degrees. I am not a fan of this. Let's get some Orlando. Let's get some Philadelphia. Let's get some Boston. There's lots of cities that I don't ever really get to see, get their name in there. San Diego would be a great city to host a WrestleMania down there. And, they handle Comic-Con. They have a great Chargers facility down there that would be great to host a Super Bowl. Great weather year-round. Some of the nicest, best-looking people in the entire world live in San Diego, and we can all take advantage of that. So I'll see you guys down the road. I'm hoping and crossing my fingers that WrestleMania 33 is not in Minnesota. Sorry to anybody who lives up there. It's just not my kind of town. Kirby Puckett.